somehow scraped through. Could have lost it. Could have scored three more goals as well. So,
Mm.
and weird lineups. But good to have Lamine back. Leva was just outstanding. But yeah, top of the table. So not gonna complain. Take the 3 points and run.
Something like that. Even though I would say that the scoreline is a bit deceiving, I would say that this was a much, or it should have been a much more calmer game, a game that we kind of won more comfortably. It was supposed to be that we played that way as well. I think we played well enough to have a comfortable win, not just a 2-1 scrap where you kind of try and hold on to the result until the very end. But I think we did outplay them for the majority of the game. But I do want to commend Real Sociedad because that block was quite good. It was compact. It was deep. They were tracking our runners really well, and they were also kind of. You can see that they've put a lot of emphasis on shutting down the midfield. I think they were watching Barca and saying, "Okay, Pedri and Frenkie are starting. That means they're going to do the usual things they do." And then they decided to just crowd the midfield, put at least one marker on each of the midfielders, including draw as well. And it was very difficult for Barca to kind of you do the usual shenanigans in midfield, at least in the first half. It was towards the end of the first half that we started to suffocate them really, and as soon as the concentration kind of falls and the legs start to give, that's when Barca take over fully. So I think it was a well-deserved win. I think overall it was a game in which we did show that we are the superior team. It's just that the goals were not coming. Ramiro was absolutely insane, as goalkeepers usually are against Barca. I know that's a running meme, running joke, but Ramiro was outstanding tonight. But then
Premier was
once
outstanding. No
yeah,
questions.
and once Lamine came on, as you said, they've good to have him back. But the difference in the way Barca play and how dangerous we are when Lamine, we can talk about Lamine a bit more. I'm sure we will. I'm sure that people will want us to. But the difference was quite clear. And overall, as you said, top of the table. This is all we needed. But yeah, good game. Overall, I'm happy. I am happy.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. So a win is a win. It's a league, and some in league there will be some games that you'll scrape through, and it'll be not so pretty. And that was it today. But the defense was worrying. Obviously, we are playing makeshift, like Flake's really doing the rotation like
Oh yeah.
crazy. So
Mhm.
obviously that's having an impact on the team because you don't have a settled team. They're constantly chopping and changing, so that causes problems in understanding. So yeah, that's there. But after Kubo came on, I thought every time they they launched an
Mhm.
attack, I thought we would concede. That's how bad it was. So and that will be something that other teams will be watching as well. So that's some, yeah. I mean, that's just what it felt, and I mean, every other team. I think how many teams are not going to play this way? I mean, maybe Madrid doesn't play this way, but apart from them, most of the others will be on a low block or a mid
Mhm.
block or a 9 block, or and that's the game, and we get to play through that. And today it was hard
Mhm.
in the initial stages. But let's start with the small pointers. Let's start with the two surprise ones, which is Dro and Rooney. None of us thought that that would be the
Yeah.
starting lineup. What did you feel about the 45 minutes that Dro spent and the 60 odd minutes that Rooney spent?
Mixed feelings, kind of. It's a bit of an unfair comparison, and I don't want to be mean to Rooney because you can't compare anyone to Lamine, but the difference was staggering. The way Barca play when you have Lamine, obviously that's going to be always going to be like that. We can't compare Rooney to Lamine, and I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to say that Rooney still has a way to go. I
Yeah,
think that there's good things about him. I think his central proficiency can be unlocked. I think that once he does cut in, that he can do things. When he receives in a very favorable position, he can do things. When you give him the time, he can do things. Now, it is when Barca needed him to be swift on the turn, when Barca needed him to position himself well before receiving the pass. I think those were the moments where you could see the inexperience, you could see the
the
gap in quality.
positioning.
Yeah, when Lamina receives the pass, for example, or when a very good winger receives the ball, he had already done the dirty work of scanning, looking around himself, moving his body in a way that he can receive in an optimal position and then move as quickly as possible. He needs to know what his next move is going to be even before that happens, right? With Rooney, he was receiving the ball either very tightly marked because he was not doing a good job of moving in a way that he allows himself the space to receive the ball freely, or when he was receiving with back to goal and then going forwards a couple of yards and then turning around and then facing the goal and then moving forward with the ball. And that slowed Barca down immensely. It was not just once or twice, it kept happening. And he couldn't do anything to create a better environment for himself. So that was my big thing with Rooney. But then he did have a couple of good moves. He did when he cuts onto his left foot and then kind of has a go at goal. You could see that there were things and that he's good at and the things that he can bring to this side, just not he's not there yet. The level is just not there yet. With Pedro or Dro, he needed help as well. I felt like, as is the case many times with Barca number 10s, it felt like we needed another body with him there at times because he couldn't really receive in those pockets as well, and he couldn't really influence the game as much as he would have liked to. But I think there is positive signs with both of them. And I know what people are gonna say. Where is Tony in this conversation? I know. Yes, I feel you guys. Tony Fernandez could have played. I don't know, but again, Flick sees things that we don't see, and that's why Jared Martin is there, not Hater Ford, not Joffrey Torrens, and that's why Draw and Rooney are there, and Tony is just not there yet. Ups and downs, Dev, but maybe to be expected, I would say.
Yeah, I think yeah, I think what I liked about Drover is his ability to work in very tight, small spaces, and he's very good at that. Technically very proficient, but physicality he's going to take some time if he got to be a regular. He did connect a few good passes. He tried to
Yeah,
be in that middle, tried to circulate the ball. He was doing those small one-twos very well. But physicality is a different thing, and he struggled on that, and we could see that. So yeah, I mean, he's going to take some time, but he's also 16. He's ridiculously young. So
yes,
I think there is something there. If they can work out his physicality, put him on some training program, and keep, just giving him the experience, I think that'll be good. But definitely a very high technical seating player that you could understand. With Rooney, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, a couple of things he did well, but I think a couple of things he could have done far better. But that is applicable to many footballers, not just him. So, but yeah, I mean, he got a fair amount of time today, and it
yeah,
wasn't that they had a very good defender on that flank, so he had time to do stuff, which he probably won't be able to, or he won't have that much of freedom in other teams
mm,
because they were literally, controlling the center, and the block was set up in that manner. So the lack of, I mean, I don't think there was that many number of crosses that came in, or that many number of cutbacks that came in, um, or whether he inverted that much. So yeah, I don't know. Probably there's work that's needed there as well. But I think both of them were used tactically to give time to
yeah,
the regular. It was just purely because Flick doesn't want to use them as much and keep them as fresh as possible. And I think that's basically why it was used. So from a tactical perspective, I think we got the job done. So yeah, it is what it is. It's good. But yeah, I mean, that's what I felt about those two. Then the other thing probably was obviously Lamin coming back and Lewandowski. Let's talk about them. Immediate impact off the bench. Probably we should have got a couple of more goals.
yeah,
And Leva obviously keeps showing, and we have talked about this, why you need a striker like him in Flick's system, right? Which is what we have always been talking about. So let's go there, Tom.
yeah. Let's go there because the thing is the Lewandowski profile, or just player who's doesn't have to be a straight Lewandowski like for like replacement, because as I keep saying, there's probably no such player on the market for us to get. Yes, Harry Kane, Vlahovic, people keep saying those names, but it's not going to be as easy to get those names as we might think. Even if they are free, there's always a caveat, there's always a catch, right? Vlahovic has insane wages. Harry Kane would also have to probably cut his wages. But with a profile like that, so when we talk about player who can actually pin the markers, more of a out and out number nine, right? Because we've seen a lot of Julian Alvarez shouts in the last couple of days. Of course, he did
He's very
declare.
good.
Yeah, he's very good. Is an understatement. Yeah, I would agree. He's just a different type of player,
Mm.
right? someone told me, is he a Barca 10? Yeah, he's more of a Barca 10 than Barca 9 at the moment. And yes, Barca have played with lots of false nines and players who are not big and strong and physical as their number nines, but those are different Barcas. Flex Barca is very specific in the way they function, because when you have a player like Lewandowski, a player who can shield the ball, a player who can pin the market, who can drag people away, who can occupy the center backs properly, and then also be good in the air, as we see. I think it just amplifies the way that everyone around him works. Olmo plays better when Lewandowski is there. I think Lamine has a clear target when Lewandowski is there. Even I think I would even say that when you have a Rafinha or a Rashford as the third attacker next to Lamine and Lewandowski, it balances out the front three, because you have a poacher or just an all-out striker in the middle. You have an elite creator in Lamine, and then you have a runner poacher on the left. It balances things out perfectly. You have runners, you have poachers, you have creators, and in that front three, you've mostly covered everything you need. Now, the Lewandowski replacement, if Barca retain the core of the players that they have, which would be Pedri, which would be Lamine, Kubarsi, obviously Balde as well. I think a Leva type, or maybe a more traditional number nine, if you will, I think maximizes that squad. Just gives it more than, I don't know, a Julian Alvarez would give it. That's not to say that Julian Alvarez would be a bad signing for Barca. Obviously not. I mean, that's a player that will have an impact no matter where he plays. But I think to really push Barca to the new heights, I think a different type of striker at the moment for this system, for these group of players at the moment, I feel a different type of number nine would be necessary. Now, who the player is, now that's the big question. Kirasi has been mentioned. Turam has been mentioned. Obviously, Kane is in our mentions, is in our chat dev almost every single week. How realistic are any of those? I think players like Girassi are more realistic, but that and they are not as big of a name, but that doesn't make them worse. Let's just put it that way. It's more about the profile and the fit of the player than it is about the name of the player. And as soon as the Barca realize that, the better we can actually move in the market.
Can we get a Kane?
I mean,
Can
Kane
can
has
we
what
really
two?
get either of them? Like we're talking about, can we really get a Kane or Julian Alvarez? Not, both of them won't come below 150 at least. They're
Yeah,
both got
yeah,
contracts on their side. So even if we did, where are we getting 150 to get any of them?
yeah. Julian Alvarez would be definitely a 100+ type of player. Now Kane, I think he has like 2 years in his contract. He is a bit older, but I think I saw a report of 50 something million. Even that, I'm not sure about his wages though, Dev. His wages might be
Yeah.
the even bigger issue. I'm not sure if we can check that anywhere. We probably can, but I don't know how realistic that is. Someone like Girassi might be more attainable. Now, how expensive would the Girassi be? I've seen the reports linking us to someone like him, but I've never seen any actual figures reported. Like, how much would he actually cost? I don't honestly no
Okay, so
idea.
Kane's market value according to transfer market is 75 mil.
Yeah.
So let's assume 75 mil or something close to that. And let's assume he must be on 300, 350 a week. Can't be lesser than that. I don't know. I don't know his salary.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and I mean, yes, we want him, but why would Bayern let him go? Bayern already let Lewandowski go, and they regret that. I mean, I do you see that happening? I don't see either Simeone or Bayern agreeing to it. Even if, yeah, I mean, it's not that you just pay the money and they let them go. Kane is critical for Bayern and company. So, like, yes, in a fanciful world, yes, it can happen, but in reality, do you really think it's possible?
I don't know. I'm not even sure what's possible with this Barca. What's going to happen next summer? Is Laporta going to pull something out of a hat or not? Is he going to magically put money in the bank for us? I have no idea, honestly. At this point, all I'm asking is that we don't chase names. I think that's
Yeah, it's just like we keep hearing names. It's just given Barca's uh, the financial aspect of Barca, and then where we are, and the wages and all of that. And I mean, even if you look into, like, we still probably need another month to get into Camp Now. It'll be at about 45,000 and what have you. So if you think about all of that, and we are still 200 short in terms of million short in terms of salary space. So I think next window is also kind of like this. I mean, we're not going to go and spend billions of dollars out there. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see, because this is a big question, that who do we replace by, and the punt that we took was Vitor Roque. Didn't work out. He's doing very well in Palmeiras, though. He's scoring a lot of goals, scoring hat tricks, and so on and so forth. I'm happy that it's going good for him. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see who, because there are obviously two lines of thought around. Okay, do we have a standard number nine for Click system, or do we have somebody like Alvarez who's a lot more creative and so on? So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Okay, Sharon Marlowe says that was a bittersweet performance from Lewandowski. He both won us the game and made probably, yeah, that miss was crazy. But I think, yeah, I mean, he was okay. Like, I'm glad Flick showed us Drew, but he's not ready. No, he's not ready. He's not ready, but we knew that. He's going to take a little time. But it was okay. It was good. I think we still need a few weeks for Furman to come back. How was Olmo today? He played for quite a bit. Tom.
I didn't dislike him. I think today it was a good Olmo performance. He was linking up. He was creating some chances. He made some nice balls towards Kunde and towards the middle. And I think that usually is the case when Lewandowski is next to him. We talked about this last time. The difference between Olmo and and Ferran and Olmo and Lewandowski is just the way that in which areas Lewandowski operates, and just how he creates space for Olmo. Because Ferran and Olmo, the way that they function is just a bit different. Because Ferran makes runs a lot, but they're not always the most thought through runs. Let's put it that way, without shading him too much. So I think when you have a reference point to create space for you between the lines instead of crowding that space for you, when you have a reference who will dismark you and just pin the defense back, and it's easier a bit. Now, obviously, this was a very tight block. It was a very deep block, and I think from that perspective, this is the game that we need Olmo to be at his best, right? That's why we bought him. We bought him because he can be the unlocker, right? Now he's not exactly been that throughout the season, but then again, we've played with rotational squads, and he's not played with Lewandowski as much. So maybe that is actually the thing that's keeping him down at the moment. Just him not having the right partners. But then again, the best players don't really care who they play with. Their quality still shines through. So we are expecting Olmo to shine despite no matter who's playing next to him. That's what I would
Yeah.
say at
Oh,
this
great.
point.
All right. So Kane's release clause is about 65 mil, but only if you're notified Bayern in Germany. And then KG says, Leon says, Kane could force his way out of Bayern. His attachments are not that deep in Germany. Julian, on the other hand, I don't see him ruining his relationship with Simeone. Yeah. So 65 mil, only if Faith tells in Jan. But yeah, theoretically everything is possible. But I just don't see it happening. Bayern will not let go in that manner because there is nobody else in the market at this moment. So unless somebody like radically emerges from somewhere, and he's having a great time in Bayern. Kane's scoring prolifically, he's doing well. So yeah, it'll be good. But I personally I don't see it happening next year for Harry Kane. Somebody said Eta Eong, and we were talking about him, and he's in Villarreal. He went to Villarreal. I think are there any fringe players like this, Tom, that we can think about who are not the 50 million, but who are the Ante Budimirs, so as to say?
Yeah, maybe, but how? I keep thinking the Laporta versus Flick discussion, right? I keep thinking about that because it will be election year, and we said this
Yeah.
a million times. It'll be election year. What are the chances that on election year our big signing is Ante Budimir? It's just it sounds a bit even
Not
Girassi.
happening.
Yeah. Especially if Lewandowski is retiring, like if he does retire, everyone's going to expect a name to replace Lewandowski, and I think we're going to go for a name. Now, is that a good or a bad thing? That depends on that name massively. Um, and that scares me a bit. That scares me a bit. And maybe it's the case of, okay, we'll be broke, so we can't do any damage to ourselves because we're broke, and that has happened before. We've had good windows where being broke has actually helped us in a way.
benefited.
Obviously, yeah. I mean, it's so weird to say, but maybe it did a little bit. Um, I don't know. We would have to go digging for players that are, not as big of a name, but then a massive profile that would fit. Of course, they are still strong contenders in that sense, but they have to be found. And then Barca need to be brave enough to actually take a punt and say, okay, we'll just go for someone that's not a hurricane in terms of reputation. And yeah, it's a bit tough, Dev. But yeah,
Yeah,
let's see.
it's
Tech.
strange that I mean Liverpool took away Ekitike, and they also took away
Oh
who's the
yeah,
other player? Um,
Ekitike and Isak.
Isak.
Yeah,
But I haven't seen them. Like, is Liverpool really tearing up the ranks yet? Not yet, probably. So I don't know. Uh, yeah, we profiled all of them during this summer, and we were
mm,
talking about so, and they've obviously
hmm
all gone. Gyökeres went to Arsenal, Sechko's at Manchester United, and these two. So more or less, whatever we had looked into are gone. It'll be good to see if there are some other names that come up during this season. Generally, every season, you come up with a new name or the other. So we'll see about that. All right, Manly, you say Tech was sturdy and professional today. You love his attitude. I don't know, man. I was shaky every time the ball came to him. Honestly, I don't know
yeah,
where you
yeah.
saw that. To me, every time the ball was anywhere near him, I was like, nah, this is nervous. This is nervy
Oh
stuff.
yeah, yeah.
Um, he's a great guy. I don't. Yeah, I like his attitude. I like the way he hangs around.
hmm
But I don't feel safe when he is like doing the thing that he needs to do, which is on the ball, which he'll have to do for a while because I mean they're saying 6 weeks. I won't be surprised if it's 2 months or a little bit more than that. So Tech's there for a while, and on these counters, I think he did he make did he make saves today? I mean, everything was on a built on a bar, or they missed it. But did he really make any telling saves today? I
I
don't
don't
know.
hear that. There was no. I was about to say there was no need, but yeah, there was. I mean, on the first goal that they scored, the only goal that they scored, even then, I felt kind of that he did stuff that he wasn't. There was no need to do. And to your point, Dev, yes, he was a bit. He did make me nervous as well because he moves exactly the way you would expect him to move, or expect a player of his age and a player who's not exactly been playing to move. He really he
Slow.
moves like yeah. He turns like a truck. Sometimes doesn't even bother to move. And I don't know, reaction time, all that. I don't know.
Very
His
slow.
lead,
Yeah, that's what
yeah,
I
nothing.
thought too.
Yeah. So when we do
And even the
face a
passing and the he takes a little time to get into the roof. I mean, I saw this in the last season as well. So even when he is, on the press and he's either receiving a ball or he's kicking it out or is, I think the passes are a little bit rushed. The player it reaches to is already under the press, so it becomes difficult. So yeah, I felt that, but yeah, I mean you
Yeah,
can't do
yeah.
much. It is what it is.
Tonight,
We have to
luckily,
deal with it.
luckily, Getafe didn't. Getafe, sorry, not Getafe. It was also that never pressed us properly, right? Which is why you would normally they're still a very good pressing side, but they decided not to press us,
They've
which to me
changed. They have
was
completely changed.
yeah,
With the two. I mean, initially, if you think about this, a traditional Real Sociedad side will not let Barca breathe, right? The first 10-20 minutes. Here it was a nine
mhm,
block from minute one. So it was a very different game from Real Sociedad. But yeah, I
yeah.
mean, it's going to be like that with Tech for a while. But yeah, it just worries me. Leon says that Tech's distribution was poor today. That's why he report long balls. But what worries me is his hesitation to sweep the ball. Yeah, hesitation to sweep, hesitation to come out, decision making, slow movement, whatever we talked about. Now, there are things, but Tech makes me nervous. He's a great guy, though. So, I mean, but you can't do anything. You'll have to go with him. So, it is what it is. All right. The thing we don't know is Hansi going to stay after the season? May or may not. I think if we don't win, Hansi might. pretty well say I have had my time. I'm done. You know, I did what I came to do, and he would be pretty right in that. So I think he's got obviously something to prove in his head. He signed a 2-year contract. So I'm guessing it's the Champions League. I'm guessing, but we won't know. And I mean, if this season goes very bad, I mean, he doesn't have to prove anything to himself, and he's a pretty, I feel he's a man who makes up his mind on his own. So you can't change his point of view. Like if that's what he wants, that's what he's going to do. So yeah, there are high chances that he may not be there, but there are high chances that if the season goes well, yeah, maybe, he'll stay. Um, and then the question becomes Schlotterbeck and Bastoni and defense. And we've had this discussion before. Dom, you've talked about both of them. What's your take? Do we need any of them given the defense that we have? Also, we have imagine limited money. So with that limited money, are you going after them, or are you going after a left back or a right back or a winger or a forward striker, a nine?
It depends. I mean, if Podolski leaves, they definitely need someone there. I think Barca will go for someone there. They won't go for a that big of a name or at left center back. I mean, Bastoni and Stuttgart both, like on their day, both can have a shout at the best left center back on the planet. I think what they do, they're really good. Like both of them are great on the ball, and this is what people want for a Barca center back in general, um, over someone like Araujo, right? Whether that's right or wrong remains to be
That's a
seen,
fair
but
question.
that's what the crowd wants, right? And they would fit that profile. And I would, if we had unlimited funds, absolutely, why not? They would present an upgrade, right? It would be a good upgrade on whatever we have at left center back. Now, is that going to happen? I don't think so. I don't think so unless something drastically changes. I don't think it's going to happen because Barca will prioritize someone in the front line again, and I think rightfully so because with Christensen, if he stays, if he is fit and healthy, Kubarsi, Araujo, Eric Garcia, even right, I think Flick won't go into that. He won't really request, so to speak, a centre back. And if Lewandowski leaves, then that gives you very little leeway in terms of what you have to go for, and the
Yeah,
funds will be allocated more towards the front line. That would be my guess. I think at this point,
I think so
that's what.
too. I mean, we will need that. But we'll get to see. Shout out to Rashford, whose GA is getting very chunky. So for it
Hmm.
was like now, yeah, I guess GA is it's well used. So yeah, I mean, he's unlucky. He got the
Hmm.
corner, so that'll count. But he's unlucky. Probably should have got a goal today. He was probably. But again, I think, and we talked about this, he's good and he's really applying himself, and he's getting more and more confident, and you can see that. And today, you can see the transition. But I still think from a creation perspective, I think he still need a little bit of time to gel than what has passed right now. Is again inside the box, or his reading or opening up spaces or making the runs, probably that's where he needs a little bit of work extra than what he has, because the otherwise, the from the flank or from the crosses or what have you, he's been pretty good. He got a good shot from the D. So yeah, those perfectly fine, putting the effort. But I think the rest, which is very synchronous with the way Barcelona play, I think that's where he probably needs a little bit of tweaking. But what did you feel, Dom?
I do agree with Lee. I think by the end of the season, we could see a very healthy GA figures from Rashford, and he's got already what like six in the last three last 6 games or something like that, or is it six goal contributions in what 6 or 7 games I think, or 8 games, I'm not sure. So that's already uh, growing. It's getting to a point where he's actually contributing consistently, and he is playing more than expected, perhaps because Rafinha is now out, so he will get more time and more chances to prove himself. I think he's building up towards scoring more goals, but he keeps getting closer and closer, and once he does score, I think it's going to be another. sensational goal again, like the Newcastle one, for example. Either of those actually, because he scored two that night. Because he keeps doing those things. But again, tonight, again, I felt like sometimes just keep it simple, Rashford. We know what he's very good at. We know what he can do consistently, but he keeps doing a lot more. And yes, without Lamine on the pitch and without someone else in that role, it comes down to Rashford to be more proactive, to be more involved, to have more touches, to even be the creator, which he's not always a creator. He's not always been a creator at Man United or Aston Villa for that matter. He does have that creative side, which we are seeing at Barcelona, interestingly enough, but we want to unlock the deadly side as well, which I'm sure it will come.
Okay, let's look at the ratings. I think again, I mean Christensen, Kunde, De Jong, Pedri, Lewandowski, great games, everyone. And from that side, I think Zubeldia was very good. Odriozola was very good. I don't know why they did not start with Kubo. Was he injured? Because if he had played those 90 minutes, I think it would have been very much harder for Barca than what it was. So we were lucky from that
Mm.
because I don't know why he didn't play the whole game. Any surprises in the ratings, Tom?
Any surprises? Let's have a look. I don't know. Look at Pedri's rating. Jesus. That guy. Well, I won't spend much time on Pedri because why? Why bother? The rest of the team. I didn't think Araujo was bad by any stretch of the imagination. I
He
didn't
wasn't.
think sometimes, yeah, these stats and scores sometimes they don't favor defenders in general. It's very difficult to have a high grade as a defender if you don't have assists, goals, or chances created. It doesn't no real surprises. Chesney was a bit shaky, so I would expect a lower grade. Martin, he does some things well, but he's also
Also
showing his
doesn't do
level a
some
bit.
things well. So
Yeah. Rooney as well, as we said, hot and cold. Rashford, that's a bit of a low score for
it's
him.
low
I
score.
wouldn't.
If you think about Draw 6.6 and Rashford 6.4, yeah,
Yeah,
that's low.
yeah, I think it's a bit harsh. It's a bit harsh, especially for a guy with an assist, right, and a couple of good chances. So I don't
Oh,
know.
it's just what sofa score things and what have you. All right,
Yeah.
let's look into some of the stats. Obviously, huge possession, 75%, big XG, a lot of chances. So two scored from four big chances. Total number shot 22 shots, so obviously a lot. 12 corner kicks. Now this was huge compared to their one, and I
Hmm.
do agree that Barca's set piece just regimen routine has improved a lot.
Hmm.
But 12 corner kicks is a lot for one goal. So we got to think about what's happening out there. Normal passes, seven, obviously Barca passes, free kicks again, 12 free kicks and so on and so forth. So yeah, the numbers match the eye test. You can also look
Hmm.
into the game. I think it was constantly Barcelona trying to attack, and then you have these small spurts of purple, which is Real Sociedad. So basically that's what we saw. You can see the shot map for so so some of these are again no surprises here from that perspective. But what I did feel that when I went in deeper, I think this was pretty. I mean, I wouldn't ever have thought Barcelona winning 83% of their real duels. But then I remember that we had Christensen and Araujo at the back, and probably that's why we got that number. But again, if you look into it, the ground duels, the aerial duels, we were comfortably better than Real Sociedad, but
Hmm.
in dribbles they were better than us, which is crazy because we would expect that Barca would have
Hmm.
players who would have won the dribble count from that
It's
perspective.
just a volume thing, I think, because we have 32 dribbles, they have
Purely,
11.
yeah,
So it's
purely.
just it's tough that way. But the duels, that's been a constant thing, Dev. That's the most surprising thing because we won more
Yeah,
area duels in Newcastle, than Getafe, than Real Sociedad,
we're winning the
Valencia.
duels.
Yeah,
Even
yeah, we
though
are
we are
winning the
very,
duels.
we're not the most physical of teams, we're winning the
Hmm.
duels. All
Hmm.
right. If you look into the passing again, 86% passes in the final third, 45% long balls. This is more. This. I mean, I haven't seen this number is increasing. So obviously, Flick's experimenting and so on. But this was more. This number we have seen change. Was the same here as well. So yeah, I mean, again, and again, look at the defending score from Barca. It wouldn't come across because we were fairly attacking, right, throughout the game, but 75%. not a bad number at all. Look at the total number of tackles, interceptions, recoveries, clearances. Obviously, Real Sociedad had a lot more, but Barca also had their own fair share, and they did a good job out of it, I would say, from that perspective. But yeah, so I mean, that's that. Like it catches. I mean, this is the game that we saw, so it it goes with the eye test. However, I think better finishing, and we have talked about that earlier as well. We have got a few more goals, but better finishing, they would have also got a few more goals. So from if you look into this game, and we saw Oviedo, and both we had it wasn't smooth sailing. Let's just put it that way against both teams.
Hmm.
And PSG would be without most of their first team players, anyways. But if you look into the trends, Dom, and how the team is faring, because we
Yeah.
always concede the first goal. We obviously come back later, uh, but maybe it's better not just to concede and just keep it
Oh
simple
yeah.
and win, right? So
I would agree. Yeah, absolutely. Just for once, let's have a normal, stress-free game because this was supposed to be that. The way we played, you would expect the result to kind of match that because I felt we were dominant. I felt superior, but then again, at the same time, I felt both superior and I felt nervous because we were not exactly the scoreline did not match the eye test. From that perspective, the data might match it because the data will tell you yes, Barcelona were leagues ahead, and the eye test would say the same thing, but then the scoreline is like, nah, nope, not exactly. It's a close game. It's anyone's game actually. Now with Paris Saint Germain, yes, to your point, different team that will be fielded by Lucho absolutely will be, and that will inevitably change the way that they play. But I do wonder what I want to know is how we'll handle the pressing because I think they will press us. I
yeah,
think they will press us. And now tonight we didn't see Tech in action as much.
but
Um,
that day you will.
yeah, on that day we will, both in terms of the saves and the way that he plays with his feet. Because when PSG come at us, are we going to be as brave as we have been the whole season and try and do our thing, play out of the back, do these intricate passes between João Garcia that happen and De Jong and I don't know, Kubarasi, or is Tech just going to hoof it forward and hope for the best? Now that's going to be the big test for me. That this is what the game might even make or break the game because PSG will press us, and we will be with Tech, and we'll be probably with Gerard Martin. Maybe it'll be Eric Garcia. We don't know, but it looks like Gerard Martin is something of a something of a consistent pick for that left side at the moment. Balde won't play. I don't think he will play because he's not playing tonight.
It didn't.
Lamine might play from the start, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him there, but Balde won't. So it's either going to be Gerard Martin or it's going to be Eric Garcia.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, but beyond that, I think our injury situation is not going to get better anytime
Oh
soon.
no, no, it's not
So I
going.
think this problem that we saw, the I think we're going to see it more, and it'll be interesting to see how Flick manages. He's obviously trying many things. The lineups are changing, the rotations happening, all of that. You can see it. So it's obviously it's a lot of thought
Mhm.
going into it. But both these games were difficult. It wasn't easy. It was more difficult than it should have been. And the scoreline does not tell the real story of what really happened out there
Yeah,
in both the
yeah,
games. So that's just all the things that came to my mind, as I looked into it. But honestly, there's nothing more to it than that. Like 3 points in the bag, there was nothing spectacular, but it was like okay, it was one of those games where you are patiently trying to just break the block and get the goals, and that's what we did at the end. And that's about it. Good thing that Lamine got a few minutes and he was good.
yeah,
All the key players got a few minutes. Nobody got injured. Everybody had a great time or great game, and we won, and we are now top of the league, which is always a good place to be after
yeah,
7 games.
yeah,
That's
absolutely.
a positive thing. So that's it, guys. Honestly, I mean, there's not much more to it than
No,
this. We'll obviously be back after the PSG game and then cover
yeah,
that live. In the meantime, we've just launched the weekly podcast, so just take a look and let us know how you feel. And we'll come back with the match review of this game in a couple of days or tomorrow, maybe. Any final thoughts, Tom?
No, guys, just keep an eye on the blog, keep an eye on the YouTube and the podcast because yes, as Dev has said, more things are on the way. We are trying to stay consistent with this and add things as we go and make it worth your while to invest into us, to give us your time and in your patience and your focus because these things sometimes do require a lot of focus, right? We are trying to make these live streams relaxed and for everyone to just enjoy them and put them on and don't have to think too much. But in the pieces, sometimes the blog and analysis can be a bit, you can't just switch off and read through those things. Now that they're so massive and detailed, and there's a lot of numbers, a lot of news, a lot of tactics and whatnot. So we do appreciate you giving us that effort and patience and focus as well. And just your support as always is what keeps us going. And thank you for joining us. There's been how many people? 1,500 around. That's a nice number for a random game, a Sunday night. So we'll take that. As always, we'll take
Yeah, we'll
that.
take that. And thank you for joining. Thank you for listening to us. It always surprises me why that but thank it makes it
Mm,
worthwhile. It's what time is it? It's 5:17 a.m. in Australia where I am. But so I'll go back to sleep and
good.
we'll see you until then. Biscal Barca.